Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make some strawberry rhubarb crisp. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Why would I want to put this weird ass red celery in my dessert? And I'm going to show you why. It's delicious. Just give it a chance. I think you'll like it. As usual, let's take a moment to talk about the ingredients we need today. I'll start with our filling. Here I have my 3 cups of chopped fresh rhubarb, as well as 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and then some beautiful fresh strawberries. This is 4 cups. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, the juice and zest of 1 orange. Moving on, here are the ingredients you'll need for the crisp topping. 2 sticks of unsalted butter, or a 1/2 pound, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 1/3 of a cup of white sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and if you like them and are not allergic, a 1/2 cup of nuts. What I have here is actually a mixture of walnuts and pecans. I have my diced rhubarb and sugar in my pan. I'll start cooking that over medium heat. The rhubarb has been cooking for about 5 minutes now, and as you can see, there's a lot of juice starting to be released, and the rhubarb is tender but not mushy. Now we can add 2 cups of our strawberries. The other 2 cups we'll reserve for when the filling is cooled, and we'll add that in. That's gonna give us a really nice texture. We'll go ahead and zest our orange. Make sure you get all of it. Waste not, want not. You know what I'm saying? We can go ahead and make our cornstarch slurry. We'll add the 2 teaspoons of vanilla in there. We'll go ahead and squeeze some of the orange juice into the slurry so that we have enough liquid in there to avoid any clumps. Stir it up. Go ahead and add that to your filling. And we only need to cook this for a couple of minutes to cook out that cornstarch and let the juice thicken a little bit into a sauce. Again, we're not looking for mushy ass fruit. Nobody wants that. Now that the filling has cooled to room temperature, we can add in our orange zest and the other 2 cups of strawberries. And then the juice of that other half of the orange. It smells so good, you guys, I can't even explain to you. I've portioned the filling into a casserole dish, and I have a little bit left over. I'm gonna make an extra one to bring to my grandparents, because I know my grandpa will love it. He's 93, he deserves some rhubarb crisp, okay? Now that we have our filling done, we can move on to the crisp topping. And I'm gonna give you one of my pro tips to keep the topping nice and crispy. I mean, this dessert is called a crisp after all. We want crispy topping, right? I have the oven heated to 350 and I have a sheet pan ready with parchment. We've got our sugars in the bowl. Break those up just a little bit. Make sure there's no huge chunks. I'm gonna chop my butter into smaller pieces. This is room temperature butter. Doing this with cold butter is gonna be a real pain in your butt. So make sure it's room temp. And we'll add that into the sugar. You could do this step in a food processor as well. Oh, fucking bangs. And this next step could be done in a food processor as well, but I'm just gonna do it by hand. So get in there, start breaking everything up. I've rolled up my sleeves. We'll add in our 2 1/4 cups of flour. Start with 1, working it in. Now that everything's mixed up, you'll want it to look like the consistency of wet sand. And now you can go ahead, add in your cinnamon and that little pinch of salt. Then add in your oats and mix everything together. Last but not least, these nuts. Flip it onto your pan, spread it out into a nice thin layer. After 10 minutes, take it out and flip everything around. This will help it get extra crispy. So after 20 minutes, it'll look like this. It's gonna be nice and crisp and so good. And we'll wanna let that come to room temperature before we add it onto our filling. Now we'll go ahead and put that on top. If there's any giant pieces, you can kind of break them up as you go. It's okay to have some chunkies because that's gonna give it a good texture. And then the thinner pieces you can kind of fill in the gaps with. We want about equal amounts of the filling in the bottom and then the topping. And I have my little baby one that I'm gonna bring to my Gramps. And that's it, my friends. You're done. If you'd like to serve it hot, you can pop it back in the oven, or you can do room temp, just like this. I had to take that flannel off, I was dying. Let's get up in here and have a bite. If the Rona doesn't get me, the Beatus will.